we have a truth, a mutual truth, and that is that we're going to have to get out of our chairs shortly. And we're going to have to leave the building. And I've already discussed with you my feelings about my chair, okay? But I know that we're going to have to get up and leave the building. But before we go, let's drift back just for a moment, say 5,000 years, to ancient Egypt land, home of the pharaohs. Now you may say to yourself, why, Rick? Why ancient Egypt land? Why home of the pharaohs? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the people of ancient Egypt land, in my opinion, were not into gray fat, okay? And I know that because I researched the process of mummification. Because here's the deal. In ancient Egypt land, home of the pharaohs, when the pharaoh died, the pharaoh get mummified, okay? So let's talk about what happens there. They take the pharaoh, they put him on a slab. Then they bring in an expert, okay? Now this expert, he's got a knife, he's got a bucket, and he's hip to anatomy, okay? This guy shows up, makes about a 3.5-inch incision into the pharaoh, jams his hand in there and starts grabbing body parts, okay, that might contain liquid, because liquid causes decay, no good for mummification, okay? So he grabbed the pharaoh's kidney and he throws it in the bucket. He grabbed the pharaoh's liver and he throws it in the bucket. He grabbed the pharaoh's belly and his entrails and all that, throws it in the bucket. Then he punches his fist up through the pharaoh's diaphragm, grabs his lungs, throws it in the bucket. This is where it gets good. He takes a swizzle stick. He jams it up through the pharaoh's nasal cavity, up to the nasal cavity, pops it into his brain. He starts stirring it up like it's a martini, okay? And he keeps up this process until he liquefied the pharaoh's brain. Then they flip the pharaoh upside down. They drain the brain out his nose into the bucket, okay? Now, this is where it kind of gets interesting. They take the pharaoh, they put him back on a slab, they roll him up. Then they put about 400 pounds of rocks on the dude and they squeeze him on down for the juice for about a month, okay? Then they unroll the dude, take the rocks off, rewrap the dude, add some powder, and then they stick him in a pyramid. Now these cats built really big pyramids, okay? I'm talking about really big ones. I mean, so big that we can't do it today. We can't reproduce what these people did today. So that means they weren't stupid, okay? But this is where it gets interesting. They left a vital part in the pharaoh, and that was his heart. And the reason they left the heart in it is because the people of ancient Egypt land believed that people think with their hearts, okay? Now, I find that rather romantic. And I know as a people, we sort of do at least on Valentine's Day because we send each other chocolate hearts and it says things like, thinking of you. If you'll notice, you don't get chocolate brains on Valentine's Day, okay? So they leave the guy's heart inside him and they ship him out to the netherworld, right? So when he gets to like heaven and they go, well, who are you? The guy's still got his heart, so he knows who he is. He can still think. And he goes, I'm King Tut. They go, welcome aboard, Tut. Take a seat. Okay? So the moral of the story, so to speak, the conclusion of what all this has been about is that when you leave here, you're going to go out in the outside world. Eventually, you're going to have to make some kind of critical decision, okay? Now, I suggest, rather than turning to the gray fat inside your head, you go with the red muscle in your chest, okay? Because the decision you make just might be that much more powerful. Now, we're going to have to make a decision here shortly. We're going to have to leave our chairs. We're going to have to go in the outside world. You're going to have to make a right, you're going to have to make a left, or you're going to have to go straight. Okay? But before you go, before we leave, I wrote a little ditty to help get us out the door, and this song is called We Better Move. See the dynamite, See the few. Look at that match that man gonna use when it gets cooking. I suggest we move. Yeah, move. Hammer better. Yeah, we better move. See the gangster. See the knife. Pay your bills. You might lose your life when it get cooking. I suggest you move. Yeah, better run, hide, grab the kids and get inside when it gets cooking. Sky. Feel the wind blowing on by when it gets cooking. Man, we better move. Yeah, better run, better hide, grab the kids and get inside when it gets cooking. The show uptown. Uh-oh, curtain is coming on down. Yeah, well, when the folks get up to leave, I suggest you get up and leave, because when the show is over, we all gonna have to move. So I want to thank you for being here this evening. And before we move, let's just take a tiny little bit of time and imagine that all you people out here in California all came back to my house in New Jersey, okay? And I'm going to run by you sort of what's been happening at the house, okay? So let's pretend we're all in the house in Jersey and this is what's been happening, okay? Well, here's the deal. Floppy angels flop into my door. And I often wonder, what did they flop here for? I mean, where did they get my name? I mean, could I be the same? I mean, sure, the house groans on Saturday night, but I just turn out the light. And frankly, I dream of angels in flight. Bang! Uh-oh. Look, there's another one. Head first, right in the door. I mean, what do they flop here for? Should I invite it inside? I will turn to the gray fact to help me decide. Nah, its wings, they're too wide. Thank you very much.